Hey everybody, welcome. Wow, big bunch of people coming already. Michael, Warren, George, Suckbear, Craig, Kimberly, my lovely wife. Welcome everybody. Beth, PD, Michael, Philip, Rick, Alan. Hey everybody. So we'll get into requests as always. That's number 3 on the list. And one request per person is the rules. Then you let somebody else go. Then you can go again. So don't throw me up a big long list until we get there. That'll be the third thing on the list. I'll let you know when. If you throw them out now, I may get lost in the chat leading up to that. But we'll talk about it. So what's on tap? 3 things for today. First, resistance. We have come up to that resistance zone on S&P 500. Oh, we'll talk about it. Unable to break out higher, unable to retrace so far. Just kind of holding steady for several days. That kind of indicates that we may be on the bullish path. So we'll talk about it. Then, of course, what's coming next? Number 2. I mean, that's obvious, right? I brought a few things to talk about that we can look at. And then number 3, I will take 30 minutes of your request, 30 MA. This is the 30 minutes of awesome. Welcome to the show. How you doing? How's everybody doing? Sledge says hello. Couldn't make it. Sledge. I tell you what. World traveler lately, Jason. I mean, he's all over the place lately. He's in New Orleans last week. SFO this week. I mean, just all over the place. So right here we have Neyland Stadium. First home game coming up on Saturday. This is the 7th largest stadium in the world by capacity. It used to be one of the largest before they built this extra crap over here. And they got rid of about 5,000 seats. We used to have like the largest in the U.S. and like 3rd largest in the world, I think. And they took out 5,000 or 6,000 seats. And now you got what you got. So anyway. Alrighty. Let's see. If you want to look at the largest stadiums in the world, let's look at this right here. There you go. So checking out the list. Zoom it up just a little bit. We can see Madison Square Garden coming in at only 19,500 capacity. Not the largest. We have Modi Stadium in India, 132,000. We've got May Stadium, Rungado of May Stadium, 114,000. Michigan Stadium, Beaver Stadium, Ohio Stadium, Kyle Field. Then Neyland right there. Neyland. I keep saying it wrong. Neyland Stadium right there. Number 7. So 7th largest one. And that is the view right there. I actually grew up right back here. Right about there. On the back of that hill right there. So that's where I grew up. My mom and dad still live right on the back of those hills right there. Across the river from the stadium. It's like 2 miles away from campus. Something like that. Anyway, I live off the screen over, whatever, over that way. Can't even see myself. Over that way, up that way. So, all right, everybody. Yeah, we don't have any race. Well, we've got racetracks, but they're like dirt tracks. There's no. Closest NASCAR is Bristol. Closest Indy track, I don't even know. Lots of dirt tracks though. Lots of dirt tracks. All right. Let's talk about other stuff I brought to talk about today. Good afternoon, Andrew USA. So, mega cap stocks. Why do they continue to dominate? Why? Well, this is best summarized right down here. Right down here. Let me find the statement I'm looking for. It was right in here. Yeah. So, career risk. This is it right here. This is what I was looking for. Oops. So for investment managers, too big, went off the screen. For investment managers, generating performance is necessary to limit career risk. If a manager underperforms their relative benchmark index for very long, they most likely will not have a career in the investment management business. So I don't investment manage All right. I just I share what I'm doing, but I don't manage anybody's investments but my own family. So currently there are two drivers for the mega capitalization stock chase. First, these are the stocks that are highly liquid and managers can quickly move money in and out without significant price movements. So there's no penalty. You push large chunks of capital, 50 million, 100 million, 500 million dollars into something small, you're going to move the price and you're going to get a price penalty. And when you quit buying, the price is going to drop because demand drops. Demand for more shares. In big name stuff, Netflix, Nvidia, Google, Meta, all the big stuff have been moving this year. There's not really a price penalty. They're so highly liquid. You can push millions, hundreds of millions into them and not have a price penalty. Now, the second is passive indexing effect. As investors change their investing habits from buying individual stocks into buying baskets. Over the last decade, inflows into ETFs have exploded, and that concentrates funds into funds that have to match index performance. It's one of those weird, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy right there. As you dump more and more money into your retirement account, and that retirement account is invested in an index fund, the index fund has to buy the biggest crap in the index. Go figure. It's kind of like self-fulfilling, right? I mean, that index goes higher, you're happy, you put more money in it, they buy more of the stuff that's in the index, the bigger stuff has to get more money, and it just self-fulfills that the bigger stuff gets bigger. I mean, when I put it that way, it makes kind of sense, right? Then again, it's a stupid way to do it. I mean, go figure. Anyway, I'm jumping sides here. So, I should probably flip back before we get into actual stocks here in a second. Do the risk disclaimer. All trading involves a substantial risk of lost past performance, not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation here intended to be informational, educational, and fun. It is not in any way a recommendation to buy or sell anything, financial instrument or otherwise. If you desire that personal financial advice, you got to hire and consult a financial advisor who has a fiduciary duty to take care of you. So, that said, let's move on. I brought some other stuff to talk about. Check this out. One of the best performing trades this year, not in a single ticker. I mean, we all know AI is pretty good. Nvidia's up, 200% this year. But shorting volatility remains this year's top performing actual trade that you do over and over and over. And this is like a weekly basis trade. So shorting volatility, rocking it out with over 100% returns. Not too bad. Not too shabby. Did have a little bit of rocky August, but popping right back up to new highs on short volatility. You may be like, JT, how on the devil can we replicate this kind of result? We'll talk about it. Now, another thing that's interesting, I'll probably talk more about this in the morning. The global trend, I click it and it jumps back to the small. So we have the CTA trend. This is computerized trading algorithm, not commodity trading advisor. Commonly referred in the news I read, CTA is computerized trading algorithm. So this is the algos right here. Automated trading systems. Right now, on a global scale, 1 month predictions from today, if we have a small up, big up. We get a big up, a big up. If we get, this is what the market's doing versus what the CTAs are going to do. This is their reaction. All right, projected. If we have a flat market, we kind of get a muted result. If we have a small down, we get a big down. If we get a big down, we get a even bigger down. And this is relative net billions of dollars potential move here. So we're kind of hanging out positive territory here. Right now, they kind of indexed current to about 0. So we're looking like 150 billion flowing in, up big, up small. Doesn't seem to matter. If we go down big or down small, CTA is selling 50 to 100 and maybe $125 billion worth of selling. I mean, those aren't huge numbers when we'll talk about grand scheme, but this is market moving type money. So there you go. And this is the historical realized flows right here. And this is conditional expected flows depending on the market conditions. Now, if we narrow that on down just the S&P 500 on the other chart over there, you can see much more muted on the up scenario. Algo is kind of already full up here. And if we get a down small, and if we get a down big, and these are much smaller numbers than these over here. So interesting to note. Keep it all in perspective. I'll talk more about that in the morning. And the other chart I brought right here. This I did talk about this morning. Energy being the laggard here. This is cumulative sector fund flows. So we're talking about like ETFs in sectors, sectorized ETFs. Technology, big tech, outperforming up here near 40 billion cumulative flows. And we're seeing negative fund flows in energy. This means there's opportunity for rotation out of tech into energy. And we're seeing that a little bit today with oil popping. Now, jumping over S&P, what was I talking about? Headline, my top 3 here, up to resistance. If anybody here remembers what we were talking about a couple weeks back, we had resistance coming up right in here. We were down here, just back in, what, right around, let's see, where was the Tuesday? Right here, Tuesday, August 22nd, just up off the lows. I was like, well, there's about a 70% chance that we pop up to this orange box. Right there it is. Lucky or good, I'll take luck every time. Sometimes I get lucky right there. And we've hung out here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days now, right on the line. Unable to go higher, unable to go lower. The 3 potential paths. Path number 1 would be to break out at the top of the box, retrace back down in here, and then go bullish. Path number 2, just go bullish. No pullback. Path number 3, if we continue to show weakness here and actually break back down out of the bottom of the box before poking out the top, probably going down for a bigger retrace into potentially into October. And this one right here, this purple path, right down through here. All right. Everybody see the 3 right there? 3 potential paths. Now, you may say, isn't this potentially like typical for a bearish market? No, not exactly. Typically, we get a sharp reversal. Look, let's look back a year ago. See what happened over here? We popped up, ran out of gas, and then came down very sharply, very quickly. And I mean, we did hang out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, and then broke down big. And it wasn't really just, it wasn't a sideways, kind of like we have now. It was like a, so, like the roller coaster topping. Right here, we've hung out 5 days and haven't really done anything. We've just kind of inchwormed along. Now we are a little lower today at the close, but this was a volatile start. 1, 2, 3. We needed a little consolidation, maybe down in this area before we break out higher. Or we could see retest the bottom of the box, then shoot up to this breakout, and then come back again. Potential. I don't know how it's exactly going to play out. I am a little more bullish though. I give credence to these 2 paths because when we jumped down to the 4-hour, I talked about this morning. This is a market roadmap bounce pattern. This was the conservative type entry. A small retrace would be typical and expected in here, and then we break out and go. And the target is 46, 47 on this pattern right here, bouncing off the roadmap line right there on the 4-hour. All right, this is a typical nested type pattern. It works on the 4-hour, then the 4-hour pattern builds up the daily. This works all the way down to the 1 minute time frame. All right. It's a little more high speed in the 1 minute time frame, but it does work all the same. All right. Hard to make that many decisions. You know, that's 60 decisions an hour, and then you got to make those kind of 60 decisions an hour all day long while the market's open. the 5.5 hours or whatever. And it gets exhausting to make that many decisions. I like the 4 hours and the dailies and even the hourly charts where you just make a few decisions a day. Yeah, how are we doing? So that's the way I look at it. Every candle close, every close is a decision you have to make. Now, jumping over to the big broad market update on the cash index with the candles all drawn out and shown here. We want to hold above this 4460 area right here. If we get this retrace, like I was talking about on the simple daily close, so we could spike down here and end up closing up higher and make it all work on the other chart. All right, that was just the first one I started out with, was just simplified daily closes. This one's actually candles. We could see a deeper retrace, but we want to hold above this high right here. This one right here, right there, that high. Got to hold above it to maintain a bullish stance right now. If we start getting below that, we're tipping the tide to the bearish potential where we're going to go down and retest the daily roadmap line down here. All right. Now, moving on. S5FI. Ooh, I think I mentioned this morning we may go back and retest that box. Look at that. Right back down. Right back down. Even though the market just kind of churned, we saw stocks above their 50-day moving average. We saw this drop right back to the box. If tomorrow we get a move up, that'd be classic. If we open the day down in the box, we're probably going on down to the bottom of the box. The box is just defined from the range where we consolidated in prior consolidation events. All right. In ES, looks like it could retrace just a little bit. In Q, looks like it had a little trouble going higher today. It tried several times to break out. Much higher consolidation. That's big tech for you. And you may be like, JT, you can't see the candles. That's cool. We'll zoom it up. Right there. Consolidating right there. 3 in a row. Not showing the kind of weakness that we see in the S&P. This may break out and go. That middle one actually looks like it's the wrong color. You know, doji, doji, doji. That's kind of indecision. We may just see this rip on out. All right. Russell. I'm afraid that's doing exactly what I thought it was going to do. We're probably going down. If we don't hold the roadmap line on this test, if we don't hold right here at 1870, coming on down, probably going to get down to the 1770. Probably lose another 100 points on Russell. All right, that's IWM if you're unfamiliar. You know, ES is S&P 500. That's SPY ETF. In QQQ is the ETF, and then Russell RTY is IWM is the ETF. So those are the 3 indexes that I like to watch. Why not the Dow? Because the Dow is so manipulated and so modified, it seems to be completely full of crap. Oil hit the 87 target, looking for 89 above this. It may retrace for a day or two. We may see this come back and retest here before we get the next pop out here. Kind of saw that same action play out right here, where we retraced and then popped, and then retraced down to the roadmap line. Now we're popping. I do have a kind of ultimate target at that 94 area. I am still long my UCO. It's kind of sitting, waiting. Kind of expect 89 at least, if not 94. I mean, maybe a prudent trader would have closed today on the break at 87. I mean, maybe I should have. I usually tend to be more conservative on my exits, but this one I'm feeling a little frosty. I may pay for it, but sometimes you got to be a little aggressive. I don't have a huge risk on it, and it'd be pretty sweet if it pops up to 94. Gold just keeps churning. Probably a side effect of the dollar trying to break out higher. Dollar, since it closed above the box today, if it doesn't reject tomorrow, we're probably on a path back up here, a 618 retrace of this whole drop we've had since September. Probably do that. We hold that area, turn down again, probably going all the way down here, low 90s. I've been looking for the mid 90s for a long time, but that kind of tilts the probability to the low 90s. Other things, interesting things to look at. Usually this show is the only show I do gasoline on, and it's just parked right at the roadmap line, not really showing any kind of potential much at all. Heating oil looks much more bullish. This is like diesel fuel. This is the cost of moving goods and on ships and other ways. So that looking like it's probably going to come up to this $3.55 a gallon price. Natural gas still sucking it up and may get a deeper retrace. Everybody's thinking this is going to be a bullish breakout for the winter. What if it's not? What if it just drops right back down in toward the $2 area? That's what it's looking like to me. We break below about this 247 area, probably come down to this $2 area. If for some way, somehow, we actually break out above the daily roadmap line up here around 315, we could talk about higher prices. But for now, just not likely. It's just not. It's just not, not in the charts. All right. Silver, probably taking a trip back to the roadmap line as the dollar shows strength, and this may actually push lower if the dollar continues to be strong. Excuse me. Copper, bouncing off the roadmap line, potentially pushing lower. All right, that's kind of the typical update I run through. If you want more stuff like the Bitcoin and the Ethereum, I'll hit that in the morning before the market opens, or you can make a request. Anyway, so the rules of this go: 1 ticker per person. Wait a few minutes, wait for somebody else to go, and then you can hit me again. All right, don't just load me up with like 6 or 8 tickers or 2 or 3 tickers. Like 1, give me 1. All right, so I'll do those for at least 30 minutes. Probably that'll take us close to 6 o'clock. I mean, maybe like 10 till. Usually I go way past. So, all right, let me make sure I didn't miss any earlier. See a TLRY. Scroll up and see if I can hit them. If I miss your ticker that you put in already, just let me know. It looks like a little potential bullishness. 331, 367 is the resistance above that. This thing is a hot dumpster fire, losing money. Please be careful. This does not have to be a bullish chart. It does not have to be bullish at all right there. That's it's been a hot dumpster fire, losing money. Be careful. They lose a lot of money. Been losing money. They say weed is a very profitable game, but this company manages to lose tons of money doing it. So be careful on that one. All right. All right. MRVL is looking like a potential roadmap line bounce. I think that was on the market roadmap for the week. We've got resistance right up in this zone. We need a close up around 65 to indicate we're going out to 72 or 79. And then still bearish on NVIDIA. Well, until they get their price to sales under control, it's probably going to do a correction. I mean, it hasn't done a correction since back here. What's the last real correction we had? If I clear all this off here, let's just look at it real quick. Clear, 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 clear. Clear a bunch of these. Now, that was my target. We got there. So, look at that correction right there. We just did that again. I mean, that only happened in December. Right there. That was on news that Biden was banning chip exports for NVIDIA or whatever. But look, that takes us right back to the roadmap line. Half the correction I kind of expect if we do the whole full 40%. Right there. Easily get 25% correction. So be careful. I mean, that's not even from the high. That's not even from the current price. There we go. 30%. That's easily a 30% correction. Back to the roadmap line. That's 25. That's 30 to the bottom of the roadmap line. So be careful on that. Eventually, it's going to pull back. They haven't fixed anything. I mean, look at the price to sales, 37. I mean, even though they announced more sales, it's still 37. Anything over 20, I mean, they've got to like quadruple their sales again, quarter over quarter over quarter, just to get up there. I'm not touching it until we get a pullback. And once we get a pullback, everything can get cleared up. But with a high price to sales and a ridiculous move up without a correction, be careful. You know, everybody said, oh, look at Apple, you know, it's just going to keep running forever. Apple did the same thing here. Look, that correction right there in February. And we didn't do another correction until now. And then we got one that was bigger. Now potentially breaking out. My next target up is up here at 220. I'm long shares. We're in the resistance zone. We break above the resistance zone, 191. Game on for 220. All right. Where is Tesla headed? Probably 350. My next target up there, 350. I drew the arrows all the way back in February. I mean, this is not magic. I drew all these arrows like in February, and now we did this just now, and we're on this path, which could take us a little longer. I mean, since this took, how much longer did that take? Let's see. I thought we might do it here. It took us extra 45 days to do. So grab that thing, move it over. Extra 45 days could take us out to December before we get up to my target. Could take a little longer. Things tend to take longer than I optimistically expect them to. But we did, I thought we might do 2 of those. We did a high one and then bounced up and did a deeper one. Came up a little higher than I expected. Did the retrace. Came down almost exactly where I thought we would after going a little higher. This one could go higher, but that 320, 350, probably where we're headed. We are having a little trouble getting back through the trend line. That trend line comes from this big long trend of highs, downtrend of highs. A little bit of resistance getting through there. Once we do, it's game on for those higher prices. Now, it's entirely possible that we top out before in the next earnings in October here. October 18th, estimated roughly. So, watch that. All right, that's Tesla for you. Rolling on down. I just skipped a whole bunch of chat. Let's see. Airbnb. Yeah, that was a nice pop today. Beautiful. I threw that out as the chart of the week. If we did not get a close above 143. If we get a close above 143, game on for 163, possibly 173. And my bigger pattern based on this big move back here is up here around 215, 214, 215, possibly up to 260. This big move back here was a measured bounce. This is a secondary bounce. Could lead just to a small extension, but it could put us on the path to get up to 220. Beautiful. The chart of the week was just looking for a move up to 163, though. Could take a couple weeks. Doesn't have to be fast. All right. Meli, M-E-L-I, Mercado Libre. However you say that. I don't know. Weird company names. Yeah, breaking out. Nice potential. Didn't do the deeper retrace. It actually held. It got close. Held above the measured bounce. So it's not a measured bounce. So we can't do the crazy move. But out to 1446. Could retrace back to the breakout and then push up to 1570. That I wouldn't expect too much more than 1570 right now. And if you look at where it consolidated right over here, comes in right there. Could go just a little bit higher to the top of that candle right there. That's kind of the resistance zone right there around 1600 on Meli. MSTR. This one highly reliant on Bitcoin since it's, I mean, they basically hold 130,000 Bitcoins or whatever. And pulling back as Bitcoin pulled back. Holds a higher low, targets up here. Same pattern. Right back to the roadmap line, bounce up, retrace. Next time it breaks out above 394, we're probably on a path to 526, if not 601. And last time when it did this, right back here, it went way on past the targets. went to some extension targets. You can see right here, all the way up to the 272 at 475. So if we did the 272 again, you're looking at like 771. Huge potential. I'd wait for the entry, 394. All right, TGT. I don't look at this one because it's such a hot dumpster fire of a stock. My target's still down here. That is a dumpster fire of a stock chart right there. Straight up dumpster fire right there. I'm not saying the company's going broke. I'm just saying that's a dumpster fire of a chart for going lower. I'm not getting in their political whatever crap. That's just a chart looking for a lower low. No bias, no nothing. Just that's the pattern. I mean, there's other ones like that, you know. This one, another chart, looks like it keeps making downside targets. I mean, next one down, 55. One below that, 48. The one below that, about 45. Just keeps bouncing up and making lower targets. All right, did NVIDIA, COP. Y'all should watch what each other type. NVIDIA's already requested. You don't have to request it again. COP right up to the resistance, prior high. And if you can break above that, above 128. Looking for higher targets at 150, possibly 166. But watch for a retrace. You know, we popped up pretty good from that last retrace right here. Got to the 1618, busted on up through, may find resistance at 129 and do a retrace back down, retest this zone before we can break on out. That's COP for you. MSFT came shy of the roadmap line. Apple actually hit the roadmap line on the daily. If you want the roadmap line, you're not sure what the roadmap line is, link is in the description down below the video. It's like $5. But Microsoft right here, retracing, popping up, probably going to get the deeper retrace would be my guess. Now, if it can pop back up through this gap down right here, see that little gap down? We can get up through that. This happens to also be the 618 at 345. So if we get up through that 348 area, tips the odds to probably going on up for 381, possibly 401. And if we look at the 4 hour, yeah, didn't even hold support there. So it just came up shy of the daily roadmap line. Just a little bit too. 311 and the price was 307. So it was like 4 point, missed by 4 points. I mean, that's not a huge miss. So, but this still leaves potential for it to move on down and retest that. I mean, it could just go sideways until they meet up over here somewhere. You know, it could be just kind of farting around until that roadmap line comes up and they meet up here somewhere like that. All right. Next up, Mara. I talked about that on yesterday. You gotta go watch the Monday show. I talked about this quite extensively for several minutes. Monday morning show yesterday. When the market was closed, I talked crypto for like an hour on the morning show. And you should go watch that. But right there, it's a nested measured bounce here, measured bounce here, potential to launch off. And it's basically, I issued an echo trade on this today. So actually an official echo trade entry on this MARA today. If that interests you, you gotta go check it out. Yep. Let's see. What do we got cooking on Yelp? Resistance right up here. High to the low, choppy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put us up right near, yeah, probably find some resistance up here in this 50 to 51, possibly 52, 53 area. Right up here. Target. Go, target, go. Probably right in that zone. That's where I would expect it to top out. Maybe get a retrace back, retest this breakout. Hook up in that zone, retrace like this. And then go again. That's what I would expect. Classic pattern. Already did Tesla. TW, TDW. Tidewater. That thing just keeps rocketing out. Barely a pullback. Can't even get more data here. Let's see. Let's go out to weekly. Let's see what we got. Man. They upset somebody in the market years ago. Whew. And they were humming along. Look at that. Humming along, humming along, humming along. Ew. Now potentially getting their crap together. Let's see, where was the high? High was right there. Come on. Tool. Work. There we go. And resistance. Oh, look at that. Right where the consolidation was. Probably got upside resistance right there. It's a huge zone right around 200. Jump back down. Look at the smaller time frames here. Yeah, let's see. Might be doing another correction. Got out to the 1272 or a 272, 2.272. Could get up as high as 81 before the next retrace sets in. Probably retrace again back to the roadmap, toward the roadmap line, and then go on the next push. Orange zone up there around 200 though. That is quite a ways up though. All right. TLTR. Oh, down to the red zone. Get below the red box and watch out below. Turn to the COVID lows. DG. Yeah, poking below the box. No bueno. Not good. So I'm going to have to pull that on down to the bottom of the COVID low. We get below the COVID low. Not going to be good. Really not going to be good. It looks like we may drop on down there. So how does that relate to DLTR? If we get below that red box, watch out for that. That's why I'm so cautious on those watermelon seed squeeze things. If we just did that, let's see. The target's right there. Probably coming at least to 100, if not down to 84. All right. SOUN. Soundhound. Tell me what you see. What do you see? Where's the opportunity? I'm curious, Dave. What do you see? That's like sideways garbage. Don't mean to slam on your stock, but that doesn't look like anything that I want to put money on. I mean, golly, gnarly. That's a gnarly chart right there. GTLB. Another gnarly chart right there. Sideways, lower highs, lower high, lower high. Ugh. Garbage. Garbage chart. It's not a, I mean, any of these things can have potential, but it just looks like a garbage chart. I mean, it really does. Like, gets below that zone, probably going down. Gets above that, it's probably coming up. Maybe this high over here. What was the question? Just reported positive earnings up in post market. How high do you think it'll go? There you go. I just kind of drew it. You know, those prior highs and above that, potentially up here. It's gnarly though. I mean, if it's a big mover in the morning, I'll probably talk about it more in the morning show. Covered more AVGO. Probably coming down here after resistance. Probably going to go for a deeper retrace. Could break out, but it's not the highest probability right now. It's already been pretty extended. Needs a retrace to recharge to go higher. 1,000 could be the upside right now. Upside resistance at that 2.272, 227.2. AVGO short term, I'm expecting to move down. I mean, short term, long term. If it breaks out, I mean, that's the levels. Like, I don't usually trade to the downside. And my methodology goes, look at the last 100 years of stock. Look at the last, however many years you want to look at the stock market. Everybody says, on average, the stock market goes up 8% a year. Rough numbers, rounded off, 8% a year. Why do you want to bet against the stock market? So I tend to look for stuff positioned to go up, because the market is generally going to go up 8% a year on average. Why do you want to trade against that rising tide? All right, any one thing could be crap and trash. Unless the market's set up to go lower, I don't like to usually chase stuff lower. And there are big crash events that sit out there that you can take advantage of, but right now I don't see one as high probability. I see the market more bullish than I do bearish, so I'm not really betting on stuff going down. If it gets down here, that's an opportunity to buy it for when it make the next move up. That's the whole basis. I like trend pullback continuation patterns, if you haven't been able to notice. So there you go. PLTR. Been off my list for a little while. I was on this one. I traded on this one for a number of years. Oh, excuse me. Right now, looks like a potential head and shoulders forming. We fill out this right shoulder, break below the neckline. We could be looking at a bigger down, and I got my head drawn a little aggressively there. Right back down into the $9 area. Imagine that. So shoulder ahead, potential shoulder, break the neck, potentially going down here. Does it have to? No, doesn't have to. It's just the pattern. Can it break out and go higher? Sure, it could. Is it very likely at this point? Not really. That was a big move. Took a lot of energy. It's going to have to save up some energy. At the minimum, it's going to retest the roadmap line. Now that roadmap line can come up into above the neckline before we get there. Could be up here and bounce and go. But if we break the neckline, head and shoulders pattern, watch out for it. Unity is just doing nothing. Couldn't break in the box. Did a retrace. Just doing a sideways nothing. Whole bunch of nothing. We get back above that. It's potentially going to go to the top of the box. Get back above this junk right here. Back above that line. Potentially take a trip up to 58, possibly 59. Possibly try to break out above the box, but not sure. Not sure. Play. That's Dave & Buster's. Reporting earnings later this week. Tomorrow after the close. Right now, why would you want to trade that? Stuck in a range, just consolidating in a choppy hot mess. It's a higher high, but it's also a lower high at the same time, and it's just nasty. It's just nasty. Let's be honest. That's a horrible looking chart. I already did SOUN, CZR. I am behind on the tickers, so I'll catch up eventually. CZR has potential for a roadmap line bounce here. Held below the 618. Really, I want to see that one above 58 to go up to 63, possibly 67. If it turns down here, it gets lower low, probably going down lower, maybe down into this zone right here. We break those lows, probably coming down here. Right like that. All right, Google. GOOG. Potentially on a bullish path. Resistance right there at that high. And then the extension, 174. Don't really expect the prior high to be much resistance since it was just a spike and drop. There could be a little supply there, but I don't really expect it at this point. If we get above this right there, any kind of sustain more than a couple days, probably on a path up to this 174 area right up in there. This is a little cleaner, a little bit below. Probably right up in there. All right, there's Google, INTC. Yeah, potentially going to break out. Next resistance to that prior high right up there at 40. Roadmap line bounce from the highest high to lowest low. Yeah, 618 right on the nose. It may do the move where it goes right up like lines. Line tool right up like this. Retrace back down like that. And rally up there. Could go faster. It's been a little more volatile than that, so it could go fast. Could have all that done before October. And then there was Meta. See that we filled the gap. And I said once it fills the gap, I'm not sure what it's going to do. More than likely, it's going to retrace back to the roadmap line. So far, just not been doing anything for the last month. When did it fill that? July, 2 months. Fill that July 26th, so month and a week. Set adrift, and probably going to come down to the roadmap line before it can find support. Possibly the bottom of the box. Back to retest that point where it tried to break up, retraced, broke up through, marched right on up to the top. Probably retrace back. Yeah, that one I drew on the calendar way back. What? Back in February again. I was on it in February. Drew a lot of potential targets. Had you jumped on there, I mean, that was a pretty darn good move. Almost a double your money trade. And while we're at it, Netflix. Back to the bottom of the box. Potentially going to make the run. It may take it into earnings to get there. I got a feeling, ooh, ooh, as the song goes. Then we're going to see Netflix hit that 500 area right up in there. Could come down to the roadmap line. I think it's going to hold the box and rally up to that top. That's a gap fill also right there. All right, ZM. Not feeling super sparky yet. Maybe, but it's going to have to make a move up of some sort, make a retrace, hold above that stuff, and then go again. If we just start drifting higher, that's not my favorite. Possibly 78, possibly 83. Puts it right in those prior highs. It does have a gap down over here too. With a retest of resistance. And gap down, tried to fill it right there. Went lower. It may attempt it again over here. Maybe. Not sure on that one. IONQ. Yeah, not too bad. 23 and 27. Losing crap tons of money. Be careful. Losing lots of money. We're in an environment where you can't lose lots of money and keep borrowing money. AMD. Potential roadmap line bounce. Gotta get above. Zoom it up. Let's zoom it up, zoom it up, zoom it up. That was a high right back here in June. Low right there. Just a week ago, week and a half ago. Aggressive entry. Most aggressive entry you can imagine. Probably at 112, maybe 113. I'd probably wait for myself until we were clearing this 121-ish area. Yeah, this little guy right here. Those guys right there. Clear that zone. Probably heading on up to 141, possibly 153. Most aggressive move up above this. We got there. Took a little while, but we got there. I was thinking in July. We got there in August. It's what I expect NVIDIA to do eventually. All right, Lemonade. I don't know the ticker for Lemonade. XOP. Yeah, 154. 154. That is a gnarly chart, though. Kind of set it up for 187 up here. A wicked retrace up, found resistance, pulled back, held a higher low. This break above, if we get above this right here, that right there, if we can get above it, probably going up to 187, possibly 208. Hood. Potential roadmap line bounce above 12 puts us on a path for possibly 14, maybe 15. That's a watermelon seed squeeze, which could very well set us on a path or move up to 22. SE. Dang, I hate when the chat jumps huge. SE going in the dumpster 28. Dumpster fire. Watch out below. Right down there. All right, AMAT. Got an alert for something or other. Got the 30 minutes of awesome done. Now we're on bonus time. Bonus round. AMAT, ultimate target up here for head and shoulders. Beautiful. Inverse, whatever you want to call it. Inverted head and shoulders. That move right there. Right there. Right up there is the target. It may take it a while to get there. That's the path. We didn't fail. We held. Breaking up higher. Probably going to go do it. Probably going to do the thing. Is at a 2618. May need a retrace before we can keep on pushing, but probably going to keep on trucking. That's the path at this point. And it can get sparky too. I mean, look at that. FNGU, talked about this morning, and keep talking about. That was head and shoulders, played out down to the bottom there. Now it's a roadmap line, potential bounce, get above. I don't remember the number I keep saying. Like 205, get above 205, probably heading out to 250, maybe 278. And in TAP, in TAP, net app. Potential to, yeah, that'd be a conservative entry for 82, possibly 84. I watch out for the roadmap line retrace though. That still could come down to the roadmap line. HE, yeah, it's got potential to recover if they can get through the legal bull crap. Long way to get back up there. I'm not trading that one. I see it as a potential to pop back up to long-term average around 35. Just the potential. It's one of those that you got to sit on for a long time. Who knows how long. AI announcing earnings this week. Sit on the daily roadmap line. Could go deeper. Very well. Very easily. I got that pretty close when I drew that roadmap line. Pretty dang close. Look at that. Does have support right there. And if I were betting on it, betting on a deeper move. I'm probably not going to trade this, but I lose a lot of money. Did Melly, SVXY. Short VIX, that's the play right there. New highs. Didn't get down to my buy price. I didn't buy it. Didn't trade it. Out to new highs. Well, undid that. The count will continue. We're at 175 days from the last 15 to 20% pullback. Unprecedentedly long, blah, 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 for SVXY since COVID, and we can continue on trucking. Eventually, we're going to get a 15 to 20% pullback. You look back since COVID times. There's all the ones we've gotten. Now, 120 trading days, 175 calendar days since we did a 15 to 20% pullback. The last one was back here in March. Where's it going? Probably just trucking on higher. Next extensions. Can zoom it up and talk about it. That high, that low. Probably came right up darn close to 91. And the market's open. Futures market's back open. And 94 above that. UCO. targets, you should watch the morning show. Targets are 40, 30 and 36 and 40. 36 and 40. AA. Hot dumpster fire of chart. Going lower. Couldn't even muster that. Yeah, potentially resistance at 33, then down to 19. VDE, Victor Delta Echo. And broke above, but that still looks kind of gnarly. Kind of gnarly, but potential to break out to 139, possibly 148 on the upside. Did Microsoft, GE. Yeah. One big turn up. Resistance, probably going to get some retrace off of that. Potentially at least back down to the roadmap line. Could break above. I don't know. LMND. There's your lemonade. Hot, nasty chart of crap. It's at the last support. We get below. If it makes any kind of move below there, watch out for that. MDT. It's kind of the same on that one. We get any kind of move down below this line right there, probably going down to here. ALB, gonna skip that one. And necklines up here, potential head and shoulders at potential right there, be the 618. If it does it, maybe we'll see. Nothing. I'm just waiting. I'm not even. It didn't hold a measured bounce. I'm not even. I don't even have alerts on it anymore. So, not even really watching. Yeah. Mucking up that pattern. Potential coming back to retest that breakout point. We turn back up, get above 13. We're going on the next extension. If not, if we get below the bottom here, probably going down. Could be as low as 7. Keeps just disappointing me every time I look at it. This was exciting. This is like lame. I don't know. We get below that trend line. Downside target. Watermelon seed squeeze. Farting around. Not doing anything. Not awesome. Agree with me on play. The reason got into call options because of Lance had it today's shadow trade with large option volume. We'll see. I don't know anything about Lance's stuff really. He once upon a time I met him in Florida and at the headquarters, and he was like, "Hey, show me what you do." And I showed him some of my stuff. He goes, "Hey, you look at a lot of stuff I do. You kind of trade similarly." But I have no. He didn't tell me about what he did. No, I have no idea. No idea. LEV. The team told me that he likes to look at sweeps, which are just large option orders. Most people can see those. I watch them from time to time, but in general, you can't. Large option order players are usually playing against a position. They don't tend to just be, hey, I think I'm going to buy 100,000 calls just because I'm feeling lucky today. No, it's probably because they have something else happening too. So you may or may not know about it. It could be a long-term position. You just never know. And sometimes they buy, rewind in my YouTube history, you can find where I watched somebody buy like $20 million of in the money call options, and the next day they were gone. They executed those babies and took the shares from somebody overnight. The transaction never came across the volume. Never showed up. And that was a big bunch of bull crap. Yes, me. So you never know what somebody's doing. They could just be buying the call options so they can execute them. Take the shares without moving the stock price. Yeah, still though, they could, play at 40. Play at 40. They could be trying to get shares so they could do something. You never know So a short seller, check it out. A short seller could have gone on the market, sold shares up here. They're like, crap, I can't buy them back. I can buy them back at 40 if I buy some call options and execute them. That locks in their win at 40. Now, if the price continues to drop, they can just waste here. If it popped on earnings or whatever, if it popped on earnings, they can still call their shares at 40, cover their short, make $6 a share. Or if it pops huge, they could ride the call options, and there's all sorts of options. So all sorts of options. You never know what somebody's doing. So that's why I caution you. There's all sorts of games that get played. I do LEV? I can't remember. Yeah, LEV. Just watermelon seed squeeze. Nothing great. Looks kind of gnarly. I had a bigger arrow down here before that we might see a bigger drop. Now the caution here, stuff under $10 may or may not follow my patterns. That's kind of the caveat here. There's like 4 things that don't really follow my patterns. China, low price stuff, biotechs, and leveraged instruments. So leverage, China, low price stuff, and biotechs. And biotechs is broad, like medical, anything FDA approval, all that stuff. So yeah, I don't even pretend to be a day trader. I swing trade and predict these crazy price patterns. So LEV doesn't look awesome. That's a downtrend slightly, and this is an uptrend creating a squeeze that's kind of a wedge that can break to the downside. That's corrective and overlapping. It would not surprise me to see an extension lower. $1.42, $1.09, possibly all the way down. Be careful. I don't know why you want to mess with that. But the potential is so big. That this $2 evaporates to $0. Just be careful. IPOs are bearish. That arguably was bearish. If you want to argue, that's bullish. Go ahead. But looks like 90% IPOs are bearish. So, hey, Wrongimer. Glad to see you, my man. Missed you last night. All right, yeah. Time to wrap this up, as Beth says. I'll be back in the morning. First thing, 9:15 in the morning. We'll do a live stream. We'll talk about what's moving. And glad to see you. Thanks for coming, everybody. Bye for now. Have a good evening. Spend it with some loved ones. Whatever. Come back, see me in the morning. Hang out with me. We'll talk about what's moving tomorrow morning. Bye for now. Awesome as always.